This is Mallory and Kaelynn. We are back today on the second episode of the Bendy Nurse. And so today we're actually going to talk about type 1 diabetes. Kaelynn, like I said, my sister-in-law, her son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when he was 2.5. And so she's going to share her story today. Being a nurse, a lot of our job is related to patient education. And so I felt like it would be important to share a little bit of information about type 1 diabetes. So basically with type 1 diabetes, it is a form of autoimmune disease. Your immune system can mistakenly treat the beta cells in your pancreas that create insulin as foreign invaders. So your immune system attacks it, they die, and then when those beta cells are destroyed, your pancreas cannot make insulin anymore, or it makes so little of it that you end up becoming dependent on insulin to survive. Insulin is a hormone that our body produces, so it's kind of weird to think of insulin as a hormone. You think of getting insulin in a jar and, administering it to yourself. I don't know. I personally don't see a liquid as a hormone. That's just me. Kaelynn, I'm interested to hear what you think. It helps blood sugar into your body's cells so it can be used as energy. It helps you survive. Basically, if you're a type 1 diabetic, you can't survive without insulin. And so over time, high blood sugar levels that are not treated with insulin can lead to diabetes related complications, amputations, neuropathy, whole bunch of stuff. Kaelynn, I'm sure you know much more about that than I do. Most time, type 1 diabetes is diagnosed in young people, but it can develop in any age, and a lot of people aren't truly sure about what causes type 1 diabetes or what can trigger it. So symptoms of type 1 diabetes can include frequent urination, feeling very thirsty, very hungry, even if you are eating and drinking, extreme fatigue, blurry vision, cuts and bruises that are slow to heal, and weight loss, even though you are eating more. So it's important to know also that when you first develop type 1 diabetes, you may not have any symptoms at all. Children with type 1 diabetes usually have the symptoms that we just talked about. And then, even though it can be easy to diagnose a child with diabetes by checking their blood sugar, the tricky part is recognizing the symptoms and knowing when to take your child to get checked. And I think that's, going to be part of your story. Because I remember when everything was going on with Owen, that was something that we talked about, like, hey, this is what's going on. I'm not sure if I need to take him in. And so even infants can develop type 1 diabetes. Owen was very young. He was 2.5. And when you think of diabetes, I don't think people go straight to thinking, oh, why would my 2-year-old have diabetes? Diabetes can lead to DKA. It's a buildup of acid called ketones in your body, and it can be a medical emergency that usually requires hospitalization, immediate care with insulin, and IV fluids. And so anyways, why don't you tell us about y'all's story with Owen?
Okay. Owen is 5 now, but he was 2.5 at the time. So my nurse sister-in-law here that I text about medical things all the time, I probably texted you that morning. I'm sure I did.
Yeah.
But I noticed Owen was 2.5. He was still in diapers. He had started peeing through his diapers, and it had been a couple weeks. I thought it was just the brand.
Right.
I was like, that's weird. What's going on? He wasn't speaking yet. He had a speech delay. He was going to the fridge, asking for water, or just like pointing to water. He was drinking, not eating very much, just very little. And he looked sick. His eyes were glazed over. He was super skinny. And
like he had lost weight.
Yeah. And he did lose weight. He had lost weight, but on a 40-pound kid,
right,
you don't know that your child has lost weight.
Right.
So, I remember Saturday we met my in-laws in Wilmington at a restaurant, and I told Karen about how he was peeing through his diapers, and she said, ooh, that kind of sounds like diabetes. And I was thinking, my kid doesn't have diabetes. Right. He's 2.5. There's no way he has diabetes. I was not educated on type 1. Only you hear
why would you be?
Yeah. Why would I know about type 1? What do I know about that? I didn't go to medical school. Well, she told me, she was like, you need to look out. It could be diabetes. So the next morning, woke up, he had an overnight diaper on, and he had peed through it so much. It was all the way up to his neck. His entire shirt was covered in pee. His diaper, flat. You hold it up, it's flat. And it was just...
Right, I remember that, because you got a video of him, like, swinging it in the kitchen. Yeah, and it was the biggest, heaviest diaper I have ever seen. Yeah.
Like, the crystals out of the diaper were popping out, and he was just covered in urine. I said, Wesley, this is not, Wesley's my husband, by the way. This is not normal. We called his doctor. It was a Sunday morning, and usually they only take like newborns on Sunday mornings if people have babies over the weekend. And I said, hey, something's not right. I think we need to come in. So we went in. They did a finger poke on him, and his blood sugar was 348, which, for reference, normal blood sugar for anybody is about 80 to 120. So he was 348.
Right.
They said, you need to go to a hospital. Like, you do not need to go home and pack a bag.
Wow.
You don't need to do any of that.
That, I'm sure. What was that like as a mom? It's okay. Kaylyn's gonna get emotional. I told her, like, yeah. What was that like as a mom to feel like, to be, you know, to take your child in because you're like, okay, something might be wrong, and then they're like, actually, something is not right. What did you feel like in that moment? Was it kind of just panic? Oh my God, we need to go to the hospital and figure out what's going on? Was it just like tunnel vision, or drink some water? Drink some water. Yeah, I remember when this was going on too, and it was like, oh my gosh. I don't know how to video.
Okay.
I'll try.
I was like, what in the world? What do they mean my baby has diabetes? So we went to Wilmington. We checked in. Gosh, what did they do? They took him back.
And they did more labs, didn't they? Check like his chemistry panel. Yeah. They confirmed his blood sugar, and then basically like, we need to start some insulin.
Yeah. They said,
gosh. I know.
Oh no. We really gotta learn how to cut this, okay?
So, I know. So, I think as a mom, look, my child does not have a chronic condition. So, I don't know what it feels like, but I know what it's like to be a scared mom. And I can't imagine what that felt like. I cannot put myself in your shoes. And so to see your emotion is just, it is so real, because I don't think enough moms talk about what it's like to see your child, you know, going through the unknown.
Yeah. Kids don't like shots. They don't like needles.
Especially when they're 2.5 and they can't fully like comprehend.
Yeah.
So did they had to start an IV and all that? They started
an IV. They did it in his hand, and then they gave him like a stabilizer type thing so that he wouldn't move his hand.
The armband thingy.
He was in that. They were taking blood. They were doing panels. They were doing this and that.
What about the little stuffed animal they got for him?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They did. They gave him a little teddy bear. It was from the JDRF, but now it's called Breakthrough Type 1. But, I mean, the staff was really great. They were very educational. They were very helpful. I mean, they did as much as they could.
Yeah.
Anyway. So his panels came back, and he tested positive for type 1 antibodies, which is a big indicator that you have type 1 diabetes. And then, gosh, we had to stay there for 3 days. And the 3 days were to get his blood sugar down and for education. They would not let you go if they thought that you weren't able to handle it. Luckily, they said that we could handle it. They were like, yep, you'll be fine.
So, that's kind of scary to be told that, though. Like, are you sure? It's like when you're leaving the hospital with a newborn. Are you sure I know how to take care of this?
It's like having a newborn.
Right.
It's like having a newborn chronic illness.
Right.
Son.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'm going to deal with that.
Yeah.
I didn't go to nursing school.
Right. Hey, okay. I did go to nursing school, and if my son was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, I can give advice to other people all day, but if it comes to Grace, I'm like, God, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. Very emotional.
Yeah.
He's fine, but it was
He's thriving,
traumatic.
By the way.
Yes,
all right, so y'all did the 3 days in the hospital, and then you went home.
Yeah.
And what were those first couple nights like at home?
So something they made us do was our nurse practitioner that came from the clinic that he still currently goes to. She came to the hospital, gave us education, and she said, for the next few weeks or so, every night I'm going to have you write down what his numbers were all day in a log, and you need to send me a screenshot of it to my personal phone. Anyways, sent her a screenshot of what his numbers were, and I'm going to tell you if you need to tweak anything. So at this point, he was on insulin, but he was on a shot. So he would get shots every single time he needed insulin, or he was on finger pokes. And you had to do finger pokes, I think it was every 2 hours. And if it was throughout the night, it might have been like every 3.
Yeah.
But you have to do that unless, I mean, you have to do it, but you have to do it more if he shows signs of being too low or too high. So if he's hyperglycemic
Right.
or hypoglycemic.
So if he seems like his symptoms are increasing, like he's urinating more, seems more thirsty, or he's acting more tired, like anything that could be high or low, like, hey, let's check.
Yeah. Yeah. So had to do that for at least 2 weeks, and then she kind of released us from that, but we went to the clinic the day after we were released from the hospital. We went 2 weeks after that. We went 2 weeks after that. Then we went a month after that. And then we went every 3 months.
At what point were y'all referred to an endocrinologist?
Immediately.
Okay.
Yeah. Like in the hospital, like they came from their office to the hospital to talk with us.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were just going over like what he can eat, what he can't eat. He can eat anything.
Just let the child have his childhood.
Yes.
I mean, imagine being a child who doesn't understand why everyone else at the party can have cake and you can't.
Yeah.
An adult's gonna understand that, but a child, like, I mean, I'm gonna throw in really quick. One of my coworkers when I worked at the pediatrician's office, she had type 1 diabetes, and she said one of the best things that her provider told her parents when she was diagnosed, because I believe she was 5, was let her have a childhood. And that helped have some normalcy in a not normal diagnosis.
Yeah. I mean, she said he can eat pretty much whatever he wants. Just try not to have dessert every night. And we're like, okay. We don't do that anyway.
Right.
But I mean, a lot of kids his age, you're used to drinking apple juice all the time, or orange juice, or milk, or chocolate milk, or whatever it is. And Owen doesn't drink any of that.
Yeah.
The only time he has juice is whenever he's going low.
Right.
So
yeah, because y'all have your juice boxes in the low bag.
Because you need a fast acting sugar whenever he's going too low.
That's right.
But for the most part, I mean, his diet is whatever he tells us he's going to eat. Because he is 5 and his palate is very limited. We try to expand it, but kids will eat what they want to eat.
Right. Or they're not going to eat at all.
Yeah, or they're not going to eat at all.
Which I'm going to throw in there, Owen, I haven't seen this a lot, but I've heard, whenever they're calculating his carbs before his meal, they'll dose him, and then sometimes they'll be like, I don't want to eat. Owen, you got your insulin, you have to eat. And he, from what I've heard, is very good about eating. When he's told he has to eat, he knows. Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
He's pretty good about it. And then sometimes we'll have to supplement things like, oh, you only eat half your sandwich? How much was half a sandwich? And then you give him a snack that's kind of comparable with that. But yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, that's
so you're
story.
Constantly doing math in your head all the time.
Yes, I hope you're good at math, Owen.
Right.
I hope when you grow up, you're good at math or you have a good calculator.
Right.
I will still be here.
Right.
But please, let's learn our numbers, baby.
Right. I know. All right. So that was what it obviously was. Yeah, because I think, so we have a couple prompts to talk about. So, because one of the things was, how did you cope with the shock or grief of the diagnosis? And what did you tell me?
Oh, I didn't have time.
Yeah, right. Mom, being a mom.
I cried from the hospital.
Right. Of course there was no time. And that, I just think that just says how good of a mom you are, because it's like, all right, I'm going into mom mode. I don't have time to deal with the shock and grief of this diagnosis. I just got to go. I just got to take care of my baby, So, all right, we talked about, obviously, initial emotions, reactions, what symptoms, a little bit about type 1 versus type 2, and I'll just throw in there. So type 2, and I am not a diabetes expert by any means, but with type 2, this is not an autoimmune process. Your pancreas technically still works and produces insulin, but your cells become insulin resistant. So your cells can no longer use that insulin to process the glucose in your body and use it for energy. And so you can take medications such as metformin, Jardiance, stuff like that. And that increases the sensitivity of your cells to use that insulin. And a lot of type 2 diabetics do have to use insulin as well. When I used to work inpatient in the hospital, we would have type 2 diabetics. They only got insulin. A lot of times metformin can, make your kidneys more sensitive to contrast dye and stuff like that. And you can have acute kidney injury with that. So that's usually why they would switch to insulin. But one of the big things, because the diabetes.org resource right here that talks about sometimes an adult can get diagnosed with type 1 new onset. It's not always type 2 in an adult, and one of the things that they have to determine is those antibody tests. I believe it also referenced something called, what was it, a C peptide level, is that okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, that can help differentiate. um
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my uncle on my mom's side, he was diagnosed in his 30s as type 1.
Oh, really?
So it can happen.
Yeah.
But if you see a child with diabetes and medical devices, do not assume they ate too much sugar.
Big misconception that
Big.
parents caused their child's type 1 diabetes, because a lot of times in adults, yeah, their diet and lifestyle is what caused their diabetes.
Yeah.
There is that genetic predisposition to it and whatnot. But again, the child's body attacked itself and killed their pancreas, essentially.
Yeah. There's no way my 2-year-old ate too much sugar and got diabetes.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, he had only been on normal food for a year at that point.
Right.
Year and a half.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's just no way.
Yeah.
And he really didn't have that much sugar. I mean, he was a kid.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's, people who are not medical and don't have family members with type 1, that is a big misconception. It just is. And so I think it's very important just to increase that awareness on, just because it's the word diabetes does not mean the same thing as type 2. So what about okay, we talked about how when he was first diagnosed, you were having to do the finger stick checks, dosing him now. How has that changed over time?
So we were eventually released from the finger sticks, and now he wears a CGM, which is a continuous glucose monitor. He wears the Dexcom G6, and it's integrated with an insulin pump that took over the shots, and he has an Omnipod 5. So the CGM, let's see.
Which, a lot of times, you may see the commercial for was it Freestyle Libre? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, it's fine. I'll just show you what it looks like on my phone. So I follow his CGM. It's something that he wears, and he changes it, or we change it every 10 days. Right now, I can see his number. He's 132. And for him to be a 5-year-old kid with type 1, his range needs to be from 80 to 180 is what his doctor said. So anytime he's below 180 and he's above 80, he's good. He's golden, because kids are constantly changing. They're constantly snacking, eating, whatever. But if you can keep him in range, he's good. So he is on the Dexcom, and I can see that app on my phone. So if he's away from me, if he, right now he's at my in-laws' house, if he's over there with them, if he's with my husband and I'm out, I can see his number. And the pod is something that, okay, Owen has his own phone, and he has it for these medical devices. So we have an Omnipod app that delivers insulin from the app. I wish I could show it to you.
I know, yeah.
But it's pretty cool.
Like, you put in, I'm probably wrong, but you put in the numbers, how many carbs he's eating, and it calculates exactly how much insulin he needs. So the cool thing about it, you can be so specific. With an insulin pen, it's now I remember his had smaller increments, but for adults, it's that was the 0.5 for him.
Yeah.
But they only come in 1 unit increments for adults. So you would do a sliding scale, but for this, you can give 3.2 units, not 3 or 4, but 3.2, very specific. And it can help narrow down or bring down your A1C more specifically, I think.
Yeah. It keeps you in range longer.
And it has a base that it gives you too.
Yeah. It has a target range. So anytime he's above his target range, it gives him microdoses of insulin. Whenever we dose him for his carbs, whatever he's eating, we can use his number. And if his number is 70, if he's low, but he's eating something with a lot of carbs, you can use that number. It'll give him a lot less insulin because it's trying to build it back up and keep him in range. So
very cool.
And if he's low, his basal insulin stops. It pauses until he gets back into where he
Okay.
needs to be. His basal is long acting. Diabetics,
Is
they
that
need the long
in the
acting.
Omnipod as well?
Mhm. Well, it's the same insulin, but
Okay.
with the microdose, he's
I gotcha.
continuously getting it throughout
That
the day.
okay. So he doesn't
Yeah.
have to have a separate long acting shot
Nope.
anymore. Okay.
No,
Okay.
he doesn't.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, because he was on that too.
Yeah.
So yeah, he constantly gets microdoses to keep him in range, and it's a lot easier than it
Yeah.
used to be. A
Yeah.
lot easier.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I couldn't imagine doing it without all these
Mm-mm.
devices. I would do it,
No.
but like I wouldn't choose to.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely
Not if I had technology.
Yeah, no, wow, that I'm sure that makes a huge difference. So, what? Okay, I think this is a good one. Let's talk a little bit more about the emotional journey, bring on the tears. Supporting him emotionally. How so obviously we talked about the other day, he's been living with this longer than he had not been.
Mhm.
You know, it's recently hit 3 years. He was 2.5 when he was diagnosed. How so he is, I guess, acclimated to the idea, or he knows he has diabetes, maybe
Mhm.
not fully understanding it. What helps him not feel different? How do y'all explain it to him? Stuff like that.
So
I think again,
Okay.
it's all he's known his whole life.
Yes.
So I don't know
It
if that's really
becomes your
something
new
to
normal.
explain. Yeah.
like
Yeah, that makes sense.
honestly, if he didn't have it, it would look a lot different. So
Yeah.
I guess our life is different. But he's just a kid. You
Yeah.
know, he eats the same foods every day, or most of the same foods.
Yeah.
Like he drinks the same kind of thing. We do the same kind of activities. We know what to expect. I wouldn't say his life is drastically
Yeah.
different. He is homeschooled
Yeah.
and he knows why.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to go to regular school. He loves being at home with mom.
The other day I asked him, I was like, how's school?
He
He
loves
goes,
it.
homeschool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Get it right in.
So yeah, I mean, so how has your perspective on normal parenting changed? I guess this again is all you've ever known.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just
And
the
you're just
normal.
making modifications
Mhm.
along the way as things come up,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
I think I've read a parent of a type 1 makes 180 different decisions every day.
Wow.
It's a lot.
I believe that
It's a lot
because
of decisions.
not only are you always calculating the carbs, the math, what his blood sugar is, what your next steps are, like what are we going to do for school today? What like
Mhm.
planning me like I'm sure that is because parenting is without a type 1 diabetic is not easy.
Mhm. There's a lot of structure that goes into it.
Yeah.
You gotta
be on top of it.
Yeah.
You're
you
always
can't let it linger.
You're always like what's it called? Not on edge, but you're always thinking ahead. You're always
Yeah. I'm alert.
Yes, always alert.
Always alert.
Yeah.
Always. I mean, even whenever he goes down for a nap and stuff, like I just keep it right next to me.
Right.
If it goes off, it goes off. Then I'll just deal with it.
Yeah.
But something else that we have, Sugar Pixel.
What?
Sugar Pixel.
What is that?
It's a device. So it is like an alarm clock. It's a long, small alarm clock, and it constantly displays his number for us.
What?
And it'll have plus or minus. So it'll have his number, his arrow, like the way that he's trending, and then it'll have a plus or minus, like whatever his last one was. And every
Right.
5 minutes it'll update. It's connected to his Dexcom.
What?
And we have settings on there. So if he goes above, I think I have it set for alert me
Yeah.
if he goes over 180, and then alert me if he goes below 70.
Okay, so like if you're sleeping,
Yeah. It's for when
and
you're
then
sleeping.
you don't have to keep logging into your phone
Mhm.
and go into the app. That's really
Yeah.
cool.
And it's funny because it has colors. So green means that he's in range.
Nice.
If it's purple, that means he's a little bit higher. If he's yellow, I think that means that he's low.
What
if
about
he's-
like red?
Red is urgent low.
Yeah.
Red is an urgent low, which means he's like below 60
Yeah.
and trending down.
And is
but-
the alarm going off at that point?
Mhm.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's going off, and it does not stop.
Yeah. Wow.
Like it will not stop until you hit the top of it. So it doesn't matter if you think it's going to go off in 5 minutes after the next update. It's not.
Right.
It's going
Wow.
to get you up, and it's going to be very useful whenever he gets older.
Yeah. For
and he
him to
starts
have one
managing.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah. I didn't
Yes.
know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's funny because I can't see, like, without my contacts or glasses.
But you can see color.
I can see color, and I told Leslie because we sleep in the pitch black. All of us the only light is the sugar pixel, and I don't have my glasses on. I told him, "I don't even have to put them on. I just look up and I'm like, it's green."
Right, right.
He's good.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah.
Forgot I didn't tell you about that.
When did y'all get that?
A few months ago.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So, what does a typical day look like now? So you're homeschooling. Do you want to talk about why you're homeschooling? You don't have to. First of all, I mean, I think his age.
Yeah,
and his diagnosis. How do you
Yeah.
expect a 5-year-old to manage their own type 1 diabetes when you start kindergarten? They're
Yeah.
not there.
So, should I talk about it?
You don't have to.
I could.
We've had,
So-
not we, sorry. That's
Well,
not what
we've all experienced
like,
this.
yeah.
So, I worked at a daycare on a military base. They told me that they had all the resources for him, everything to make sure that everything went smoothly. And they did. They did. But whenever you work in a daycare, your kid is 3.5, 4 years old, and he's in a preschool room with 24 other kids, things fall through the cracks. They just do. And
Yeah.
there are
Right.
3 teachers in each classroom. There's at least 2, but there's usually always 3. And they were all trained to deal with Owen, every single one of them. And then we had a nurse that was specific to our child development center that would stay there for Owen, because most of them would go from
place to place.
yeah, place to place. They would travel, like they would have 2 centers to deal with every day.
Yeah.
But we had one specifically there for Owen. And it had ups and downs. Like, I can definitely tell that they did their best and they tried. But I will tell you, working at a daycare, it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
We're always getting people quitting, coming in. We have a new lead teacher. We have a new assistant. We have people that need to go take their breaks. So then people who are not educated on Owen. Yeah. So, I mean, things can just fall through the cracks really easily. And then that age, there's a lot of behaviors going on. And I know one time Owen got caught up in it, and he got caught like running down tables, like down the lunch tables, and jumping off of furniture and doing whatever he was doing. So there's just a lot going on in that classroom. And after about 1.5 years, I decided to take him back home, and we're going to homeschool.
Yeah.
Because also, if you didn't know this, we live in Eastern North Carolina, and where we live, it's right near the beach. We're near like Emerald Isle area. Our school specifically, their nurse shares. She's shared with a different school, so she's only there 2-3 days out of the week. And I'm sure if Owen had enrolled, maybe they could have changed that and had her there all day for him. But I felt like I could do a better job.
Yeah.
Because I'm his mom. I do it all the time.
Absolutely.
And it's true. It's true. So whenever Owen was diagnosed, his A1C was a 10.1. And then it came down to like a 7.2 whenever he was home with us for that year. When he was 3.5, I went to work, brought him with me. He was in the same building as me. His A1C ended up in the 9s again, and then it ended up in the mid-8s. And now that he's been home with me for, how long ago was February?
8 months.
8 months. So he's been home with me for 8 months. We've been able to get it back down to a 7.1.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been worth it.
Yeah. I mean, like,
it was just the right
because
decision.
you have in your gut, like, oh, it was the right decision, but to have that measurable number is just like, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's just no stress, no question about what's going on. Are people taking care of him? Nobody's yelling at me to get back in my classroom because I'm running up in his.
Right. And
Like,
it's not like one of those things, like, it could be a life or death situation.
Yes. It's constant monitoring.
Let's say
not look at it.
The sugar, because wasn't his sugar in the 30s one time or something? And
yes, it was.
Yeah.
So
you can have a seizure if you go too low, and you can. I mean, you can die. You can die.
You can. It's very serious. If you go too low, you can have a diabetic seizure. Like EMS is going to have to take you to the hospital. You have to stay. Whatever it is. Luckily, knock on wood, we've never experienced that. We have all the supplies to avoid that. But
you have to be paying attention. And again, when you're in a classroom, 20 plus kids, you can't, unfortunately, it's hard to just dedicate yourself fully to one you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. And even, I asked for one-on-ones. They said they didn't do one-on-ones. And then towards the end of me working there, I asked for a meeting and we had a meeting and they ended up saying that the nurse could be the one-on-one until if he was low, blood sugar would rise, and then whenever he was stable, she could go to a different classroom. Um, I don't know how much
Right.
I don't know if she was really able to do that because we had such a busy center. We
Yeah.
had 24 classrooms.
And
I think
like,
we had 24.
wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot of kids. It's a lot of kids. Kids at daycare are sick. People are constantly calling. I mean, something about these COVID babies, if they're not diabetic, they have seizures. They
Right.
have really severe allergies.
Yeah.
I mean, they have so
Asthma.
many, asthma. They have a lot of things going on, and there
Yeah.
was constantly distractions.
Mhm.
And I almost I shouldn't feel bad or guilty, but I almost felt bad because I was asking them to pay such close
Right,
attention to Owen that the other kids weren't being addressed like they should have either. So just for everybody's sake, I left. And I don't regret it.
Yeah, no.
Not
I
at
don't
all.
think you should.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
I miss working, but
Yeah. Because
I
I mean,
miss
let's be
worrying.
honest, like we sometimes like unfortunately as a mom, sometimes the only break we get is work.
yeah.
And because a lot of people have the perception, oh, you're a stay-at-home mom, must be so nice, blah blah blah. It's like I work harder than I ever have in my life, having been a stay-at-home
I need
mom.
a nap.
Right.
Yes.
Go to sleep. Yeah. So all right, we talked a little bit about navigating other people's lack of understanding, comments that you may get. What were some of the comments that you got at work, other places in life, like
So people don't know what they don't know.
right,
So
right,
if
and
they don't
that's a good
understand
statement.
it, they don't understand type 1 because they think it's like type 2. They hear diabetes and say, "Oh my gosh, you ate too much sugar," or like, "You must be fat,"
Right.
or whatever. And then they see like my tiny little 4-year-old.
Right.
I mean, there are people that say, "Oh, did he just eat too much sugar? Is that why?" Or I would hear them whispering, like, "Oh my gosh, like her son has diabetes.
Oh my
I wonder what
gosh.
she did. Like, what did I do?
Right.
What did I didn't
Yeah.
force cake down his throat. What are you talking about?
Oh,
Yeah, like here,
Right.
I want a hospital visit. I want this to happen." Like, no,
No.
who does that?
My God, no.
But people, they just they don't know if they've never been around it and they
Yeah.
never had to deal with it. And I feel like, one of my best friends in high school had type 1 and I never knew. Her name was Summer and she drove me to the career center every day. I didn't know she had type 1.
Oh,
I just knew she had diabetes because she had an insulin pump.
Right,
But,
right.
I didn't know what she was going through.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And I never asked any questions because I thought it was rude.
Right.
Like
You're too polite.
I was just chilling with my diabetic
Yeah.
friend. And she was a good
Yeah.
friend too.
Yeah.
And yeah. I'd like to talk to her one day and see what she went through and how
Right.
it was in the
Yeah.
school system. Maybe one day
Yeah.
I'll be brave enough to send him to a school, but today is not that day.
Today's not that day, no.
He probably will not step foot into a school by himself until he has a basic understanding of what is going on with his body.
Yeah.
Or he can speak up for himself.
Right.
Because there are not enough IEPs, substitute teachers, lead teachers, meetings with the
Yeah.
school board to convince me he's safe.
Right. Yeah. And you have to trust your gut on that.
Yeah.
So this might be emotional. What advice would you give to other parents of newly diagnosed kids?
Just do it.
You have no choice.
Nope.
It can't be reversed.
Mm-mm.
At least not yet.
Cannot. If you don't do it.
How did you do it? What was it that made you just do it?
I'm
Sorry.
You're gonna have to cut this. God, what was the question?
It wasn't listed here.
What was the question?
What was it that made you do it?
Owen.
Yeah. You're just a good mom.
I'll show you a picture.
Just gonna pull up a picture of it. She's gonna show you what made her do it.
Hold on.
Oh, yes.
That
That's what made her do it.
Baby.
That's what made her do it. That's a good answer. What do you wish others understood? I forgot the tissues.
We really did.
Yummy. Okay, good one. Here, start talking about what you wish others knew.
What do I wish others understood? I don't know.
Trust me as a mom.
Trust me as a mom. I guess.
I'm doing what's best for my baby.
Yeah, I am. But at the same time, I don't expect people to understand.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they did, but like, it's not their life.
Yeah.
So,
That's true.
you
All
don't
right.
know unless you go through it.
Yeah. Right. No, it's true. Like,
It's true. If you don't do it every day, you're not going to understand it. So, I can't hold that against too many people.
yeah. Like, I never kind of understood mom shaming until I was a mom, and I didn't understand why some comments that people might say might be offensive until I was a mom.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what it's like until you get there. Not comparing mom with having a child with a chronic illness, but it's just one of those things you just don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I will never know what it's
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like people that don't have kids. It's like, oh, why don't you just get a hold of them? Why don't you just make them stop being crazy? Why don't you just make them like be
Right.
quiet or whatever? It's like, you try doing this with a child.
right, yeah,
You try it. Luckily, I have really lucked out.
yeah.
And he is
Yeah.
wonderful.
And last night for Halloween, he was just, I don't know,
Chatty.
he was, and he'd be like, have a fright. Or he would go up to people and say, we really like the king size.
He was on the hunt for a king size candy bar.
Right.
We were like, that's a true diabetic right there.
Right.
Because he knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Halloween is when we stock up on his low bag supplies and
Yeah. He
Yeah.
has lots of candy. Actually, last night he ended up going low right before bed because he ate so much candy and we dosed for it. And his body was, I don't know what it was. He just had adrenaline or what. I mean, there's a lot of things that play into why his blood sugar is high or low.
Yeah.
And it was just, he was excited.
Yeah. And illness can impact how your body processes it and
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what about support system? Are there any support groups or communities you found helpful? Like I remember you sent me a couple things of the like moms of kids with type 1 diabetics, like
yeah.
Facebook group and
Yeah. So
crazy and not crazy things.
yeah. No, I'm on a few Facebook groups. I know the moms of type 1 diabetics is really popular. They actually told me to join some before I left the hospital with him.
Mm-hmm.
I say my husband was there too, obviously. He's a big part of this journey.
But you're the mom of the type 1
yeah,
diabetic.
yeah. But yeah, just support groups online, talking to people who understand. We recently took him to a diabetes camp. Yes, he went to Camp Community Wilmington.
Oh.
And that is part of the Diabetes Family Connection in Raleigh. So they just advocate for type 1
Yeah.
and they try to put out as much information
Mhm.
about research, resources, because, you know, these supplies for type 1s, the CGM, the pumps, the needles, the insulin, all of that, like with regular health insurance, probably costs us like $300 a month.
Really?
Yes. So
With insurance.
with Wesley's insurance. It might be more for some people, but
Yeah.
I've seen in those support groups, people pay over $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Just for life-saving supplies.
Right. And I like when I hear, you know, the debate ongoing about drug prices and all that stuff, like he is a prime example of
Yeah.
and you can't again if you're type 1, you can't not treat it with insulin. You have no
Yeah.
choice.
You will
It
go
is the
into
only-
DKA and die.
You will die.
Yeah.
Like I'll see on Reddit posts like to the Ask Docs and it's like, "Hey, I'm a type 1 diabetic. End of the world comes." Okay, well, the end of the world comes, we're all dying. But end of the world comes and there's no insulin. How long can I theoretically survive?
Yeah. I've seen a lot of people ask, "Hey, my health insurance just ran out, or I have no money to pay for medical supplies. I have vials of insulin from 3 years ago. Will it still work?" Like,
Like,
people have to make stockpiles of this stuff because they don't have
yeah.
enough. I mean, we're in a situation where luckily we can afford it. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't do that. It does not discriminate, like, if you are dirt poor living on the street and you have type 1, or
Right.
if you just come from a medium-sized income household and you're
And
able to do it, but it's
or
it's a
you're having to
lot.
scrape by and like make changes everywhere else to,
Yeah.
yeah.
And what if you're a family that has like 7 kids and then your youngest is type
Mm-hmm.
1? You have to make sacrifices, you have to move stuff around, you have to
Mm-hmm.
make it work, but there's a lot of resources on not necessarily like free supplies, but if somebody has some and they're willing to ship it to you or meet
Yeah.
up with you if they're local,
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of that too.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because people are out here struggling.
Yeah.
They're really struggling.
Yeah. What about, okay. Do you want to talk about anything else before we start wrapping up?
Mm.
Okay. So, what is one message you hope that listeners remember?
Um, if you see a child with medical devices, you can be curious, but do not be judgmental.
Mm.
You can just ask questions. Because if anybody asks me, I'll tell them straight
Yeah,
up.
because you probably even maybe like to be asked, so you can provide
Yeah.
some education, like
Yeah. I used to talk about it a
demystify.
lot.
Did
Like a
you?
lot.
Yeah.
Like anytime we would go to a playground and somebody would see it, I'd say, "Oh yeah, he has type 1. This is what was going on.
Oh,
This is how we handle it."
because you wanted to like, was it because you wanted to jump out so people wouldn't judge?
I
Kind
think
of
so.
thing?
I think I tried to get ahead of it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just mention it. But it turns out a lot of people can relate to it. They'll say, "Oh, my niece has that, and she's the same age." And
Wow.
it's like
So it's
people
kind of
have
a
always
judgmental
had type
situation.
1. Yeah.
Yeah.
People have always had type
Yeah.
1, but I would say since 2020, there's just been a sudden spike. A lot of these young children are just being diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
Yeah.
And I don't know the reason behind it. I'm not a scientist, but it's true.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of research comes from that.
Yeah. And also another thing, one of his doctors at the clinic, her name is Dr. K. She's from Ukraine. And she has a lot of experience with type 1.
Hmm.
And something she told us, she said he was born at the right country, at the right time. He was.
Yeah.
Because insulin
Yeah.
wasn't even invented until 1921.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. Wow.
yeah.
Did she come over during the war? Or, okay. Like y'all gotten into like these long family discussions. So tell me, no, I'm just kidding. What about resources for parents of kids with type 1? What would you recommend? Like looking into?
So there's Beyond Type 1 and there's Breakthrough Type 1. And then just join a support group.
Mm-hmm.
Get information from your doctor. Our doctor is really great, and she sends out newsletters about things going on. You can do walks for type 1. There's a lot of research out there about what's to come for the future, whether it's an artificial pancreas or
Right.
stem cell therapy. I'm optimistic, but I'm not.
You're just going to continue doing
Yes.
life as is right now and
Yes.
hope that maybe one day there's something even better.
I'm going to assume that he's going to be like this for the rest of his life
Yeah.
until they tell me differently.
Right. Yeah. I think that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. I mean, we're used to it. This is every single day.
Yeah. So what would you say to people who have a family member or a friend with a child with any chronic illness or type 1 diabetes in particular?
Like how they can be.
Yeah, how you can be helpful.
Try to learn. Try to educate yourself.
That's a
Ask
great point.
questions. Don't assume that you know, because you probably don't.
Yeah.
I will tell you, if you're ever caring for a type 1, like if I were ever ask you to babysit or watch or like come to appointments with me and stuff, I just want you to listen.
Yeah.
Don't assume that you know anything, because I thought I knew about diabetes before he was diagnosed and I did not.
Right.
I was very, very sorely mistaken. And yeah, just learn his day-to-day routine. Ask the parent questions before
Yeah.
you try to give the kid anything.
Yeah.
Even and this, don't mention sweet treats like ice cream and juice and all that kind of thing. Don't mention those things around kids unless you've consulted the parent, because I constantly have his number. And if it's not a good time for us to go get ice cream or go do things like that,
Yeah.
like, just consult with the parent.
Because the kid's going to hear the word ice cream or
Yeah.
treat, and that's all that's going to be on their brain. And then they're not going to understand why. No,
Yeah.
why was it even suggested in the first place? Like,
Yeah. Or even food for that matter. I mean, he
Yeah.
can eat anything and he could drink anything, technically.
but again, it could be the
But you have to
wrong
be smart about
time.
it. Yeah. You just have to be smart about it. That's all it is. You
Yeah.
have to take into account what his number is and what time you're planning on doing whatever. I mean, that's just something that I have to remind, like, oh, maybe it's not time right now. Like, maybe could we go eat in like an hour? Let's try to get his number down. Let's try to do something about it. Because you just have to make sure that he is in range. You're
Yeah.
not going to give him a milkshake if he's 300.
Right.
And you're not going to necessarily take him for pizza if he's 300. If he's had a lot of activity and he keeps going low and you want to bump him up, let's go for ice cream.
Right.
If he's sitting at 120 and he's had a great day, let's go for ice cream, you know? So just be mindful and try to educate yourself and listen.
Yeah.
Just listen. Because I
think
will
that's
tell
a
you
great-
all day long what I think and what is best for him, because I know it. I live
Yeah.
it. And
You
not
do.
everybody lives it. If
Yeah.
you don't live it every day, you don't know.
Yeah. You don't. That's important. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest points is that you don't know until you are literally in their shoes experiencing it for yourself. And yeah. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for
Mhm.
getting emotional. I know that was not easy. But I think a lot of moms and families and dads, not to not include the dads, but
Shout out, Wesley. We love you.
Wesley, yeah. So shout out to all the parents of type 1 diabetics. Shout out to all the parents of children living with chronic illness. Thank you for helping to just bring it to light and tell us about your experience. Again, I know that you're a very private person, and so I appreciate you sharing, because I just think it's important for people to know.
Thank you for having me
And
and letting me share
Yes.
my sweet little baby.
Yes. So we're going to wrap up and we're going to head back to see them and get them some lunch. And anyways, thank you for joining the Bendy Nurse podcast again. Again, this is Kaelynn, my sister-in-law, and we hope you enjoyed. If there's anybody that you know who would benefit from listening to this, anyone that you know who has a child with chronic illness, type 1 diabetes, or any mom, dad, family looking to just kind of hear someone who's gone through it, who's living it and doing a great job, we would love if you shared this podcast. Anyways, thanks. Have a great day. Bye.